So what we want to talk about today is alimony or spousal support. Now, that issue can sometimes be pretty controversial. Clients will say, I don't mind paying child support, but I don't want to pay my ex-spouse any amount of money. But the law assigns a value to the differing roles in a marriage. You can have a breadwinner and you can have a homemaker who works only inside the home, or sometimes there's a homemaker who works inside the home but also outside the home. But there's going to be a economically disadvantaged spouse who makes less money and an economically advantaged spouse who makes more money. And so tends to be a struggle between should there be alimony, should there not? If there's alimony, what type of alimony is it? And how much is it? And how long is it going to be? So we want to talk about why that's sometimes controversial and the different types of alimony, what the alimony payments could look like versus other ways of structuring it. So, Haley, what's kind of been your experience in talking about some of those issues?
Yeah, so I agree. That's probably, aside from parenting time, I would say alimony is right up there in the top two issues. And I don't think it's any secret that when you're getting a divorce, the idea of paying a monthly stipend income, however you want to look at it, to the person that you're getting a divorce from is not very palatable to 90% of the people going through that situation. And what it ultimately comes down to, what we try to reiterate is when the court is evaluating these factors that make up the potential for an alimony award, the overarching principles are the financially advantaged spouse's ability to pay and the financially disadvantaged spouse's need for that alimony. So really honing into those things, you can imagine, well, what constitutes need, right? And Jay, I know that I hear a lot about, well, they don't need, they don't need a boat. They don't need cosmetic surgery. They don't need to be able to go on vacations and trips. So I think I hear a lot of complaints about what should count as need. What about you?
Well, I hear people say, well, sure, we did this while we were married, but now we're not going to be married anymore. So what does it matter what the other spouse was accustomed to during the marriage? They're not going to be married to me anymore, so why should they get then what they got now? But I think alimony is out there because you don't want the kids to be a prince in one house and a pauper in the other. You're trying to keep it balanced. You're trying for each spouse to have substantially the same lifestyle after the divorce than when they were married. Now, sometimes that's not possible. I mean, both sides are probably going to take a step down a little bit in their standard of living because you went from 2 incomes and 1 set of bills to now 2 incomes and 2 sets of bills. So it's going to be more expensive. But you're looking at, like you said, need and ability to pay, and there's other factors. The length of the marriage, the education of each spouse, the health of each spouse, the contributions each spouse made to the marriage. For instance, if one spouse worked so that the other one could go to law school or medical school or nursing school or to get a master's and become a teacher, that's factored in. There's a lot of different things that are factored in besides that need and ability to pay. And so we can help clients assess what their exposure is to maybe have to pay alimony or what their likelihood that they could receive alimony.